Welcome back from the break. You're still watching Life Stories. Thank you for giving this show a slot in your day. You will not believe what happens after your favorite show has aired. This is it. After the show has aired, we get feedback from our viewers on Facebook, Twitter, and some come to the station at NTV to thank us.
When we were doing the story, it was a bit emotional because we were talking about the life of a sick father, and it was a bit moving, so we felt a bit sad.
He comes back and he tells him now, they are so down, you can't do anything now. You have less than 2 months or so. If you don't do dialysis, you will die.
When the story was aired, it was a bit compassionate and people came to help. A group of friends on Facebook started some campaign called Save Ben Tumwine campaign, and many meetings were held and some money was raised, and this is the money we have been using for dialysis up to today. So with a bit of outside help and maybe some help from our family and friends, but really that group has been of great help to us. I am extremely very happy with NTV, and this program should continue because I think it will help out people out there, the silent voices and the silent life stories that are out there. They need to be brought on board, and the community needs to learn from this. I think this NTV is doing a very great job.
We then have a post-evaluation meeting to assess this feedback, reply to our viewers, and also point out ways of making the next show even better.
I think I've been doing great. My creativity has been
Okay. Then you know you have strong talent there. Ugandan people are absolutely good people with hearts of gold. So many people have come up and helped our guests. You know, they're guests we feature and they need help. So many people have come around and helped our guests who we have aired on this show. They are guests that really need help. You remember the story of Ben Tumwine, Noel in Nakagwa, the little people, the ladies in Masaka, in Barara. So many people have come around and helped them. Churches, companies, individuals, and we're going to have a special edition where we're going to feature all the people who have helped our guests. And you'll also hear from the guests who we have featured and how life has changed for them, courtesy of fellow Ugandans, ordinary people. We thank you very much, all the people that have contributed to make life better for our guests who we have featured on this show. We shall have a special edition for you, and viewers out there, keep waiting. Our work has been appreciated and recognized by the viewers and different entities as well. You're still watching Life Stories. This is what some of our viewers have to say about Life Stories. Take a look.
I think it's different. It's something new, especially on Ugandan TV. I mean, we've seen this on different TV channels outside Uganda, outside Africa. And so when I saw this being introduced in Uganda, I was very impressed. I liked it. But I worried, I said, do they have enough life stories to run this show? And I'm so amazed at how many things are going on out there. So I like the fact that it's different, it's new, and it's informative. It brings out a certain side of things we had no idea was happening, you know, within ourselves, within our community, within, you know, our neighbors and friends. And it's such an eye-opener. That's what I like about it.
It tells a real story of what has happened, so that then we can review within ourselves how this society is, the suffering people are going through, it tells the story of a person who has gone through a lot of suffering. They have come from grace and they have fallen into deep depression, frustration. I watched the story of the former MP, Chigundo, who I knew very well, and the story of how he got into the accident. He was such a you know, a budding lawyer, and that accident which eventually took away all the opportunities he had in life. It was so painful. Of course, I watched the story of Major General Pecos Kutesa. I watched the story of the former child soldier. And, you know, all these stories are so touching. They are personal, and you feel that we need to care for ourselves. I get that feeling from the stories that society needs to be responsible for each other. As human beings, we have to take care of each other. But then, why doesn't that happen? For me, I like the story, and I enjoy watching it, to be frank.
I've been watching Lifestories from the day it started. It's been 6 months now. It's been amazing. It's made life for those that had lost hope gain it. It's given vision to those that didn't have it. And most amazingly, it has changed a lot of lives. There are quite many stories I can point out, but I could point out the stories of the rebels, the kids that were abducted and everything. But it was really amazing how so many people had lost it. And the story of the albinos, it was amazing how those kids had lost hope in the society. But now it's like they can engage themselves, and people started accepting them the way they are.
Lifestories is one of the most inspiring television shows in this country. I think other shows are entertaining, but this is inspiring. It's more about giving the platform to the ordinary person with an extraordinary story that would otherwise not make it into mainstream media. And I think that in many senses, it does inspire a lot of people in this country. It does inspire me, definitely, to see the stories of resilience, the story of people making it against all odds, ordinary people going through life's challenges and trying to overcome them. I think there cannot be anything more inspiring than this.
Another thing I like about the show is that it's so emotional, it grips me. No show in Uganda has ever made me cry. I only cry when I'm watching opera. So, you know, I watch Lifestories and I find myself crying every single week. You know, that's just how touching it is. That's just how much, you know, it opens up your heart and shows you so much more about reality. And, you know, you come back to life and realize that, you know what, people out there need help. It makes me cry all the time. It's amazing.
I love Lifestories. My children tell me about it a lot. Once in a while I watch it. I think continue doing the right thing of educating our children, especially our children who pay more attention to your details.
I like Lifestories because it is an interesting show that gives out people's messages and we get to know what they're suffering with. And I got touched by the George's show where he was child abused and he was in a bad situation. So I like it very much, and I don't advise child abuse, and I hate it.
I love Lifestories because they are touching stories, like the former kid soldiers who were victims in Konyi's War.
I think last week but one when I watched a woman in Western Uganda who's helping children with disabilities. She started off with having her own children, and then she decided to just help all the children in the community. And people like that who just do things like that without expecting anything in return, without expecting to be covered by some TV station, without expecting to be paid for it, I think that's such a big heart. And it's nice to know that we have such people within our community. That was so inspiring for me. It made me think about what I need to do, you know, instead of just doing what we do and going and seeing at charity events. You start thinking about, oh my God, I should open up a home for orphans. It is so inspiring at that level.
To me, Lifestories are lifesavers because the listeners will have something to learn, either as bad part to avoid or as good part to copy and practice. So it is very, very important. And as UNAFRI, we do a lot of sensitization. Therefore, you find a kind of alignment between what we do and Lifestories, particularly what NTV does. I'm a fan of NTV. So whenever I'm watching NTV, I watch it with all my heart and interest. But when I bump into a kind of life story program in the NTV by Justin. It touched me so much because I saw value in what that girl was doing. Sensitization on issues that are pertinent to the society. There was this particular issue of a drunk soldier before, which now is a refined soldier. It was a learning story because there are a lot of drunks in the society, and nobody has bothered to know the impact of drunkenness to productivity, to death toll. But such a story revealed to those who are drunks and those who would be drunks to know that if you drink, it affects your productivity, it affects your lifespan, and so many. That was very important for the country's growth. Then there was this story on the issue of northern Uganda. She was giving a story about some northern Uganda who suffered from the insurgents who are living in Chireka. I never knew, but it was an eye-opener that despite what they have passed through, because there was a boy that was shown who have gotten to a university level, that was very interesting and inspirational to others, that when something happened like that, it's not the end of the road. It is just a bend of the road. It's not the end. It's just a bend. So that was very inspirational to me. Then you go back to, I discovered her talking in Gulu or something like that, Gulu or Lira, where the insurgents actually took place. And people were given their life experiences. That was very, very important. It was important in the sense that it was a preventive activity. Preventive, it was rehabilitative and integrative.
It changes the way you look at life. You know, very many times we think, you know, everything around us is perfect, and so everything around our neighbors and our communities is fine. And yet, it shows you that people out there are going through so many difficult things. And, you know, instead of sitting back and feeling sorry for yourself in case you're going through something and feeling like, oh, it's the worst thing ever, you know, when you see life stories, you realize that people really do have problems. And, you know, instead of sitting back, maybe you could actually reach out a hand and help someone or help yourself. Because then you realize that someone else has got it worse than you.
It gives hope to the hopeless, and it encourages those who have lost hope to carry on. And it inspires. It inspires both the young and the old. I encourage Namere to continue. The sky is the limit. And this is a show that should always be promoted for generation and generation.
It's made a lot of popularity from the time it started. There's been a very tremendous change by the way it has picked up in society. Personally, by 9:55 I'm home, getting ready for the show. Thank you so much, NTV. Keep up the good job.
I like the presenter because, you know, such a life story, the way she does it is that she is part of the story. She comes to this person that is telling the story, and she feels with the person, she moves with the person, and she is compassionate for the suffering of these people. And I think that is important. So when you come and you sit with these people and you're like empathizing with them, I think that's the most important thing. And so it brings out the story well, so people feel like Chigundu, the former MP, you know, you made him feel like still useful, even if he was in his mind having this attitude that I'm now useless, I'm now not useful to this life. But you made him feel that he is still that useful human being, that useful lawyer, that useful legislator that this country would have loved to have. I think that's important.
Justine happens to be a very close friend of mine. She's been inspirational to the youth. She has changed so many youth's life. By the show, she has given them hope. She has given them a vision, and it's amazing. Justine, thank you so much for the good work done, and thank you so much for serving the society.
But I also like the host. I think she's so empathetic. I think unlike sometimes when I watch certain shows and you feel like the presenter is not, you know, in sync with the person they're interviewing, I feel like the host is always with this person. She's so empathetic. She feels what these people are going through. And that also helps the show touch the audience even more and bring out the story of the show. And I think it's really well done, well produced. Like I said, the concept is different and unique, but most of all, it's an eye-opener and very inspiring.
So now you have a glimpse of how Life Stories is done every week. I'd like to thank the guests for letting me into their hearts, into their homes, and into their lives. I'm so grateful that you gave me this chance, and thank you also for empowering this community. I'd also like to thank you, the viewers, who set aside every Monday night to watch Life Stories. Thank you so much. May God richly bless you, and I hope these stories gave you the strength to carry on in each day. One constant that I've picked from all the stories that we have done is to be grateful to God for each day, never to give up, and not to take life for granted. I appeal to people out there, especially the youth, to believe in yourselves. No matter what you have to put up with, do not pay attention to people who pour cold water on your parade. Don't stop dreaming, because dreams do come true. Season 2 of Life Stories is gone. Season 3 starts next Monday, same time, same place, with me, your host Justine, only on NTV. Get more information about the shows on its Facebook and Twitter pages. You can still catch all the shows of Life Stories on YouTube. That was it on Life Stories today. I'm Justine, your host. Thank you for watching the show. I love you all. God bless Uganda. Have a good night.